Excellent, excellent. Will it be recorded? Yeah.
Yeah, it will be recorded.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's kick start. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Still not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay, now you can go live. Thank you so much, Abdelfatah, for your time and effort to be there.
Pleasure.
It's very interesting topic. It's very interesting topic that everyone is looking to hear about it. Blockchain in Islam. Really, it's impressive name and title, and we are looking forward to hear you. Please, everyone, share your thoughts, actual questions, anything you want to. Mr. Abdelfatah is here to help you and support you. And tomorrow he have another 2 sessions as well. So remember this one as well. 1 workshop and 1 session, and share the questions with him to the chat, and to the feedback form. I will share it also in the chat. Go ahead, Mr. Abdelfatah. I don't want to waste more time.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rami, Dr. Rami, in this opportunity and initiative, and also all the organizers that are with you in the team. You have done a brilliant, initiative, and especially, when it's to do with the Arabs. When you organize the Arabs, you have achieved a lot, because there's a lot of intellectual, there's a lot of willingness to do good, but they don't know how, because the model or the business model has changed for the last 100 years, where we have to follow the Khalif. Now we do not have a Khalif to follow, and it's up to the people that has the deen in their hearts to come forward and bring a new business model into how we do muamalat and how we conduct ourselves as Muslims in this current world. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyid Mursaleen, Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. My reason for the blockchain in Islam, the topic itself is hasn't been looked into as yet. There are some attempts in terms of the Sharia compliant initiatives that's happening around, but not necessarily understanding the blockchain and its use in the Sharia in general. Now, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Abdelfatah, originally from Morocco. I have, moved to Cape Town 15 years ago to study political science, where I finished my political science in South Africa, and that allowed me to enter the political arenas within a soft diplomacy in Africa, especially. And I've done a few work in that regards, where strategizing soft diplomacy for a intimate relationship between the African countries, and especially the Morocco and South Africa. At the moment, we didn't have an ambassador in South Africa, but now we have an ambassador due to the work we have done to bring the 2 countries together on a mutual benefit. My finance background also, I have studied finance and worked as a financial advisor for 3 years, where to do with Sharia compliant instruments, where I have done a lot of research in that regard to understand exactly what are, to be called Sharia compliant and what's not Sharia compliant in the view of the divine law. From there, I moved to technology. I started as a cybersecurity analyst, and from there, I moved to blockchain, and especially strategizing blockchain with the intention to get involved in Islamic muamalat and Islamic Alkaf and Islamic finance in general. Thank you very much for hosting me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the presentation. Now, I'm going to start with, as we all know, there is a law in the Quran, and I want to bring a surah or 2 ayats, which is from the Baqarah. And here we go. The first one is the Surah Al-Baqarah, ayah 281 and 282. I'm going to read it in Arabic and also give you explanation on it on English, and then I will comment on the English just to bring up, why did I choose this ayah specifically. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأبى كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يملي هو فليملي وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتين ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن يضل أحدهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تستأموا إن تكتبوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوا صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجل ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهداء وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها واشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم أو كما قال صدق الله العظيم. Sorry for my Arabic. Also, it's very difficult to read it from there. The translation of this is translated from the English from the translation of a Noble Quran by Abdelfatah and Aisha Bewley. And the translation is, you who have Iman, when you take on debts or debts from specified period, write it down. A writer should write it down between you justly. No writer should refuse to write as Allah has taught him, so he should write. The one incurring the debt should dictate and should have taqwa of Allah, his Lord, and not reduce it in any way. In this, if the person incurs the debt is incompetent or weak or unable to dictate, then his guardian should dictate for him justly. 2 men among you should act as witnesses, but if they are not 2 men, then a man and 2 women with whom you are satisfied as witnesses. Then if one of them forgets, the other can remind her. Witnesses should not refuse when they are called upon. Do not think it is to travel to write down, whether small or large, with a date that is falling due. Doing that is more just in Allah's sight and more helpful when bearing witness and more likely to eliminate any doubt. Unless it is an immediate transaction, hand to hand, taken and given without delay, there is nothing wrong in your not writing it down. Call witnesses when you trade. Neither writer nor witness should be put under pressure. If you do that, it is devious on your part. Have taqwa of Allah and Allah will give you knowledge. Allah has knowledge of all things. If you are on a journey and cannot find a writer, something can be left as a security. If you leave things on trust, with one another, the one who is trusted must deliver up his trust and have taqwa of Allah, his Lord. Do not conceal testimony. If someone does conceal it, he is hardly commit a crime. Allah knows what you do. Sadaqallahu al-Azim. Basically, why did I bring this? Because it has all the elements that blockchain is able to do for us. beside, the mistakes I've made in Arabic sometimes and also in English, there are certain points here that refer us to blockchain being utilized in this element of first right, because first of the conditions in our contracts could be, debts, could be, inheritance, could be any form of transaction and muamalat between Islam, and this is basically the law that governs most of the Arabs, and that's where all our ancestors have been in terms of their trades, in terms of their education. And the elements here, if I look at the ayah, there is first writing. Now, blockchain will basically help write every transaction and keep a record of it. The second aspect of it is the witnessing. Now, at least two. If there is no two, then you have the no two men, then you have a man and two women. And that basically falls out, because now we have a system that's not just one witness, not just two, because a network of a lot of witnesses, and that's even viable, and it's trusted more. The other thing is the dispute. When a dispute happens, is that when I go into a transaction with you on a blockchain, basically you get a record of it. Therefore, you are writing it, and the other one approves it from the other side. And that's basically my view on this area. Now we're gonna move from this area to a concept or something that's always close to my heart, which is a Muslim identity in general. And it doesn't really take us from the rest of the world. It's just because we're Muslims, we have a certain responsibilities towards our creators, and also we have laws that governs us as Muslim, because we can't pray and not do zakat, because something that just go together. Therefore, how do we bring a perfect scenario into a Muslim's identity? And as I said, it doesn't separate us for the rest of the world, because they are also part of the Sharia law when it comes to interacting or transacting with the Muslims. First, I would like to introduce you to the levels of identity interface. Now, the identity interface can be taken in different levels, and especially the time we live in. Because before, it used to be your neighbor knows you, you're known by the chief of the area, and known by the ruler. But this time now, it's just the cards, your identity that's held by the government or an authority that's dealing with the identity management. The mini interface that we have at the moment is the government, where your ID or passport gets issued from, and then you have a border where you utilize the passport and you go out, and then you have taxes, you have universities, banks, voting, and also judicial system, which is the law system. The other interface is the infrastructural interface, which is coming or will have to be utilized with the blockchain technology to make an effective adoption, a speedy adoption, is also a trusted network in general. We have the Internet of Things, we have connected vehicles, we have bots, we have AI, smart contract also, which is a part of the functionality of blockchain. Then we have the voice assistants and wearables in general that can assist in the process. The other interface is the corporations. Now, we live in this time that we cannot do without online services, we can't do without online payments, and we can't do it without press and social networks, as well as the digital ecosystem in general. Now, talking about the our responsibility as Muslims first is that we want to see the laws of Allah being implemented fully without any interruption. Even though we understand that the current system it accommodates for everybody, but still we haven't reached the level that we should be operating at, and blockchain is giving us the opportunity to get into the Quran and bring up all those laws and refine them, because it could be refined. It's not, there are laws that can be changed because of the time, and there are laws that doesn't change because it's just how it is. Moving forward to global Muslim trades and transactions. Now we have, we spoke about how the interface is going to be with the identity, because the identity has to be set up, and we all know what's a Muslim's identity all about. And also, as Mr. Ahmed has clarified to us that the blockchain will change the world, but we want it to change the world and also change the Muslim world in a way that is more transparent, more sustainable, where contracts are ready and contracts are being respected. Now, the first line is investment. Now, as we know, investment in terms of the Islamic world, more as mu'amalat, we have qirad, we have mudarabat, we have different instruments that the current system, or we call the existing system, is borrowing from the Islamic concept and putting it in a system that the source of it is not Islamic. And when I say source of it is not Islamic, is that the fiat currency does not have the eligibility to be a currency that has value. And sorry to get into it, but this is the reality of it, because then it was backed by gold and silver and commodity, but now there isn't. It's more a system that's basically creating more and more and more of that currency. And so the system itself is not ready to receive the laws or the Sharia of the laws and Sharia of the Quran, where those smart contract has to be refined and it has to be put, as it is, or even being better, or being put better within the world that we live in at the moment. The next thing is business. Also, it does fall on the investments, and then we have job creation, where the jobs are more available in terms of the value that each of these sections will create. The global Islamic social responsibility, we see it also. It's happening all over the world, where the blockchain can assist. And currently, there is an initiative that I'm busy with a group of developers within Spain. Also, there is a community in Spain, there's a community in Morocco, and also a community in South Africa, where there is a smart contract generator for Sharia compliant application, where the developers can get into and then have a system with a smart contract. They don't have to reinvent the wheel. Now, the other aspects is we have to have a decentralized system for collecting and distributing zakat. Now, we understand that the zakat is not a concept where you give it. It's taken, and if it's done properly, it has to be where a person creates a profile, and that profile, there are assets in there, there are liabilities in there, and then that gets calculated annually and then gets paid into the pot, the other pot, which has the 8 categories. And we may say 7 categories because the one which is the free and a slave, it may not apply, but it still can help, create another category within that regards. Therefore, decentralized system for collecting and distributing zakat, it's all there where the people of the 7 categories can have profile within the Muslim identity and being able to receive this money immediately as collected, as it gets received to, as the persons sees fit, and that can be done by the smart contract. Speaking about the global Alkaf, everybody here that's listening know what the Alkaf means. It's a charitable, mechanism within the Islamic context, where a person or a group buys or invests into a communal, uplifting, sustainable project where it benefits a certain community or benefits certain group or a certain country or a certain person. Therefore, smart contract again does this with an amazing way, and a blockchain, an amazing way where you connect the globe to create and help each other. All those Alkafs can help each other, advance to a better Alkaf where, the hungry is fed, where the health is being looked at, where the education is looked at in another perspective, is not on a profit-making mechanism, a system as we live at the moment, because it loses quality, it loses trust, and it loses because it's all about making profit. And this is the blockchain is meant for Islam, meant for those kind of initiative, because it creates trust and also is peer-to-peer, and we can talk deeply about it in the next slide. Also, the food and water that also fall within the Alkaf, where distribution of food and water can be done according to the need of the place or the country or the group as an Alkaf, and that also a sustainable, charitable initiative that we could look at it. Now, all those aspects, includes the health, and it basically the Alkaf. When we spoke about Alkaf, it will touch the food and water as well as health and education, and also out of the Alkaf, where we organize our universities, where we know the silsila of the transmission of certain element of the deen that has to be verified, and that will eliminate any act of extremism, as we saw in the Middle East, as we saw in North Africa, and because of the lack of teaching or the wrong teaching that those individuals has been receiving all those years from people that's not even qualified to educate in Islam. Therefore, we have to verify our knowledge. We have to solidify our knowledge and be able to put it, in a way that is trusted, and we can rely on it and rely on those people that actually involve on a global level when it comes to Islamic image and Islamic identity. Now, that takes us to the next section, which is, what is the Islamic dimension? Now, I spoke about blockchain being the best technology for the Islamic Sharia's law and its uses. But what are the dimensions that we could look at? First thing, the first dimension that I looked at is, we have an example which been working for the last until 100 years ago. It's the economy of Medina. When we saw an economy of Medina, is not a economy that been based on money or profit. It's mostly the trust and also the transparency and also the pricing, because capitalism is about making money, but the economy of Medina was more a sustainable model, and we can't ignore that. Now, the economy of Medina does not contemplate the existence of paper money or banks. Usually, monopolies or unjust taxes are forbidden. This is how blockchain can help to its development. Now, that's basically sums the whole idea of why do we call for an economy of Medina, because it was the only example we had until we lost it, because we relied on the systems that being given to us, because it's functional now, it's given to us, and thank you for ever introduced the Muslims to banks and central banks, but it doesn't work for Islamic model, because it's not what the Islam calls for. Now, the new dynamics straight after the economy of Medina, we want to look at Islamic smart contract. Now, why do we say Islamic smart contract? Islamic smart contract is a contract that have to be public. They require by law for 2 witnesses. The blockchain gives more, if you like, because of the consensus mechanism that we have. And also there's more mirror the public nature. It's not an issue, because for it to be public, it's actually better for us. The other aspect is everybody is talking about the cryptos and cryptocurrencies that's the blockchains come out with, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, that all those are good to hear about, but they're not Islamic. And I'm saying it, I'm going to say it again, they have no base, they have no asset, they have nothing attached to it, no value whatsoever. And I'm not shunning them, but they work for a certain group, but it would not work for us. Okay, what we say, the crypto value, money is commodity in Islam. It's not a something that is like gold and silver. Gold and silver is commodity. It's not a currency. Therefore, it has to be a tangible asset, and crypto value must be based on an asset. Why do I say asset? Because it has to be backed by a tangible asset beside it just a number or a crypto wallet or what. It has to have an asset attached to it. Why I say that? Because it makes present cryptocurrency as non-valid means of payment. The most common money in Islam, but not the only one vast, it's a gold and silver. The dinar and dirham, the Islamic blockchain will operate tokenized the dinar and the dirham for us to have a value, because we can't live on a valueless community. As a Muslims, we cannot, because you can print and print and print and print and create and create and create, which it creates an imbalance within the community when it comes to the rich and poor, because that's where we have so many rich people, immense rich people from nothing, and then there are people that poor because that's not flowing into the community, because it's within a group of people that controls the system. Now we're talking about a system that's given to us. Now we have to create our own system if we want to thrive and be able to assist and accommodate the laws of Allah. We're talking about Islamic finance and mu'amalat. Currently, the laws on mu'amalat are more on the hudud, more than the hudud. Now, we focus on the hudud, as some countries will do, and leave the mu'amalat, which is the base of the society, fall by the waist. Now, why would we say Islamic finance? The Islamic finance definition in this time is that a so-called Sharia compliant company get registered and get attached to the system, basically to operate as normal entity or a bank, and then call it Sharia compliant. The transaction is not Sharia compliant because the Sharia compliant element within the transaction is not being put in place, and the first thing is real currency or real commodity. And in this case, the fiat currency or cryptocurrency, it's not real. And this is my point of view, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is my view. It's not that making it complicated, but we could change the you know the the rivers by doing it correctly. If we're going to implement blockchain technology in the Islamic world, we do it properly and maintain it. If we're going to follow on the same trap and the same system that's being given it to us to call, the pig a sheep, we can't. It's a pig as a pig and a sheep is a sheep. We can't put a horn on a pig and call him a sheep. Is haram, and the base of the current system is usury, because if there is no interest, they won't be able to make money, because that's the only source of income they have. The next section is our caravans and guilds. Now, when I talk about caravans and guilds, yes, it was caravans where some camels travel from one place to other place with goods, and then that's how they create economy. They create a route, and within the route they create work, they create jobs, they create sustainability, because people know every year, every month, or every 2 months, this caravan passes us, and this is how we make our living. Now, the same applies with blockchain, where we create the hubs of our goods, our commodities, our services, and have it to be the same laws and principles of Islam that will give us thrive. And also the guilds. Now, the guilds, it's like we have now. This is a guild. This is something that I will consider as guild, where people of experts come and show the others, or hold them, or mentor them, or coach them to be able to deliver the same quality as them. In technology, it could be in cybersecurity, it could be, and that's how we create that channel and that route. Where every time people come in, we teach them, they go work and do whatever they do. Now, we talk about the Islamic finance in terms of muamalat. Islam finance is not based on collateral, but reputation. Now, reputation is difficult to handle on the internet. Why so? But the blockchain technology is perfect to establish it. Reputation in Muslim communities were granted by your peers in your town. That is where you are known, okay? When they know your activities, reputation is not given just verbally, but in Medina was expressed by vouching each other. Thus, groups were created in which members shared assets and liabilities. Everyone vouched for each other. Those frontiers were called guilds, and the guild of trades of Medina was called Caravan, and the messenger of Islam was the caravan member. Therefore, he was a caravan member himself, and this is us. This is something that belongs to us. This is something that coming from us, where we take those laws and put them in a cloud Medina, if I will say, and that's what I call for. The next thing is marketplace. The marketplace is easy to be online, and it's not a complicated thing. Anyone can do the marketplaces, but it's the laws that govern those markets are important. Now, the marketplace can operate on the blockchain technology that validates not only the ownership of goods, but their position. Islamic marketplace will operate on the premises that participants have in real-time position of what they sell, as in accordance to Islamic law. Now, you can't sell you don't have something you don't have. It's not part of our Islamic, transaction muamalat, because that's haram. You can't sell what you don't have. And the current system, yes, allow for it, but we have to change this. The next slide, or the next point, will be the integration. How do we integrate the economy of Medina with the digital world? Now, the integration is important. Now, we are not saying that Islamic identity will take you out of the world. No, it's going to integrate you into the world with a strong foot. We may just succeed to have the base system that we can show to the world and tell them, look, sustainability is like this. This is how we do it. This is how the Rasul ﷺ did it. And that was successful with all the laws, with all the Alkafs that has been created. And still now, Turkey is flourishing by that because it has been implemented, but also lost, but still there. The Alkaf still holding Turkey until now, as we speak. Now, the integration of economy of Medina with the digital world altogether, blockchain technology could be a perfect technology to integrate the economy of Medina with digital world. And thank you so much for listening to me. And this is the time for questioning. If there is any questions, if we have time, please, Rami, indicate if we can do some questions.
Great session, Abdelfatah. Really, it's to the heart, right? Really, this is impressive, and definitely, I would like to maybe organizing another session with you, in another occasions, maybe in Arabic, and invite more people about this one. It's definitely one of the top things that we need to focus on it in these days. I believe there is no time actually for questions because already delayed like 10-15 minutes. But I encourage everyone, please share your questions, your details in the feedback form. Okay, I see there is a couple of questions here, but let me save the time. I will send it to you directly, Abdelfatah, in order to answer them. And please re-share these questions again to the feedback form. And we will get back to you and answer immediately in that part. And let we go directly for that another session. Really appreciate your time, Abdelfatah, and effort. Please, everyone, I'm encouraging everyone to attend also another 2 sessions for Abdelfatah.
Sorry for my recitation, one of Khalid al-Basha. I'm so sorry. I should have practiced that ayah, but also, it's just, when we talk about this subject, it's more than just an emotional stage. It's real. And sorry, next time, yes, I will recite it properly. Thank you.
No worries. Great. Fine. So thank you so much. Let me jump to another 2 sessions, and your feedback is great, and let us learn what you have in mind, and we're happy to answer.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, Rami. And sorry if I have said anything that may have offended any of the attendees. Excuse me, and sorry for that.
It is different of the languages actually, but it is happening usually.
Thank you. Thank you so
All
much.
the best for everyone. See you in the next sessions, inshallah.
Bye-bye. Take care. Salam.